HOA nightmares, and straight-up audacity. Make sure you hit that like button, smash subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on the chaos. Today's story? Oh, it's a doozy. Picture this. I leave my peaceful ranch for a 2-week dream vacation in Costa Rica, expecting to come back to my quiet slice of paradise. Instead, I return to find my property turned into an illegal Airbnb by none other than the HOA president from hell. Let's call her Karen. And trust me, I didn't just get mad. I got even. I sued her for everything she had. Buckle up, because this is the story of how I took down the queen of HOA crime. It all started with a well-deserved getaway. My wife and I had been grinding for years, saving up for a trip to Costa Rica. We're talking lush rainforests, sloths chilling the trees, and the kind of sunsets that make you forget Wi-Fi exists. I'd spent months planning this, ziplining through the jungle, sipping coffee on a hammock, maybe even learning how to surf. My ranch, a sprawling 10-acre haven with a cozy farmhouse, a sparkling pool, and a barn I'd painstakingly restored, was locked up tight. Or so I thought. I handed the keys to my neighbor Tom, just to keep an eye on things. Feed the chickens, water the garden. You know the drill, I told him. He gave me a thumbs up, and off we went, blissfully unaware that chaos was about to descend on our little piece of heaven. For 2 weeks, life was perfect. I was swinging through the canopy, my wife was snapping photos of toucans, and we were living the pura vida dream. Meanwhile, back home, Karen, the HOA president who wore yoga pants like they were a personality trait, had other plans. Karen wasn't just any HOA president. Oh no. She was the kind who'd fine you for planting daisies instead of tulips, who'd measure your grass with a ruler, and who'd send you passive-aggressive emails about her mailbox not being community standard. But I never thought she'd cross the line into full-blown criminal territory. We landed back home, jet-lagged but buzzing from our trip. I was ready to kick off my shoes, crack open a beer, and sink into my porch swing. But as we pulled up the gravel driveway, something was off. Deep tire tracks gouged my pristine gravel path, like someone had been doing donuts in a monster truck. My patio, usually spotless, had grease stains splattered across it, like someone had hosted a barbecue and forgot how to aim for a plate. And then I saw it. My barn door, a gorgeous oak piece I'd sanded and stained myself, was hanging off its hinges, covered in glittery stickers that screamed Instagram backdrop. I stepped out of the car, my jaw on the ground, and that's when I heard splashing. My pool was filled with kids I'd never seen in my life. They were screaming, cannonballing, and tossing floaties like it was a public water park. Under my gazebo, a group of adults lounged on my patio furniture, sipping cocktails and scrolling on their phones. One woman, sporting a fake tan and a floppy hat, actually waved at me. "Oh, you must be the groundskeeper," she chirped. "Can you grab us some more towels?" I blinked. Groundskeeper. Groundskeeper. I felt my blood pressure spike. I walked over, trying to keep my cool, and said, "Ma'am, I'm not the groundskeeper. I own this place." Her face froze, her fake tan practically cracking under the weight of her embarrassment. She stammered, "Oh no, there must be a mistake. We booked this through the HOA rental program. It's all cleared with the community board." HOA rental program? Community board? I don't know what was hotter, my face or the steam coming out of my ears. I told them they had 10 minutes to pack their knockoff designer bags and get off my property. As they scrambled, I noticed a shiny HOA-approved rental sign slapped on my gate, complete with a QR code. QR code. Karen had turned my ranch into her personal cash cow, and I was about to find out just how deep this scam went. Right on cue, Karen rolled up in her Range Rover, sipping cucumber water and clutching a clipboard like she was auditioning for Real Housewives of Suburbia. She wore a sun hat so big it could have doubled as a UFO. "Oh, you're back," she said, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. "There seems to be a misunderstanding. Technically, your property was unoccupied, and per HOA bylaws, we can allocate idle residency for community benefit." I didn't hear a word past technically. My brain was too busy processing the fact that this woman had broken into my property, rented it out to strangers, and was now quoting bylaws like she was a Supreme Court justice. I forced a smile, nodded, and said, "Cool. I'll see you in court." She laughed, a high-pitched, nervous cackle that told me she thought I was bluffing. "Oh, Karen, you have no idea who you're dealing with." I didn't stomp around or curse the wind. I didn't cry into my tractor shed. I called Mikey Mendoza, my college buddy turned legal shark. Mikey's the kind of lawyer who could make a CEO cry on the stand and still have time to grab a latte. I told him everything. Unauthorized subletting, property damage, impersonation of ownership. He practically salivated. Bro, he said, I haven't eaten this good in months. Let's bury her. Mikey and I got to work. We didn't just file a lawsuit. We built a legal fortress. The paperwork was thicker than a phone book, with photos of the tire tracks, grease stains, and broken barn door. We highlighted every HOA bylaw Karen had twisted to justify her scheme. That idle property clause she kept yapping about, it was meant for mowing lawns, not turning someone's ranch into a pop-up resort. We sent cease-and-desist letters to every guest who'd set foot on my land, 20 in total. One guy tried to come back to finish his paid week. Mikey greeted him with a court order and a police escort. Checkmate. The local paper got wind of the story and ran a headline, HOA president turns ranch into a legal resort. Suddenly, Karen's smug mask started to crack. Reporters camped outside her house, asking, was this about money or power? She called an emergency HOA meeting to clear the air. Picture her standing at a podium, stuttering through a typed statement, dodging questions like they were tomatoes. Why'd you break into a locked gate? One homeowner shouted. Who gave you the right to list his property on Rental Mojo? Another demanded. Did you really charge guests a local hay tax? Mikey walked into that meeting like a gunslinger in a Western. The room went silent. We'll see you all in court, he said, unless you want to settle now with an apology, full payout for damages, and Karen's resignation. Karen tried to play the victim, dabbing her eyes with a tissue and claiming she was just raising funds for the community. Nobody bought it. The courtroom was where things got juicy. Judge Kessler, a grizzled old rancher with zero patience for nonsense, presided. Karen's lawyer, a sweaty guy who looked like he was allergic to the truth, mumbled about ambiguous clauses and community interpretations. Kessler cut him off. Ma'am, he drawled, staring at Karen like she'd just insulted his grandmother. You mean to tell me you broke into a man's private property, rented it out like a hotel, and now you're asking for sympathy because it was for the greater good? Then Mikey dropped the bombshell. He traced Karen's financial trail. She'd opened a bank account labeled HOA Ranch Retreat Fund. Every dime from the illegal rentals went straight to it. And guess whose name was on the withdrawals? Karen's. She'd used my stolen money to pay off her credit cards, build a fancy deck, and get this, book a spa weekend. While I was scrubbing mud off my boots, she was getting seaweed facials. The courtroom gasped. Karen stammered. That's a coincidence. Mikey raised an eyebrow and pulled out an email she'd sent to her sister. Found a way to make easy money while the ranch guy's gone. The room went so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Kessler didn't blink. Ma'am, you ever seen a trespass charge stack up next to impersonation of ownership and fraudulent leasing? Because you're about to get real familiar with it. Guilty on all counts. The ruling was a meteor shower of justice. Karen had to pay back every dollar she'd earned, plus triple damages. Her bank accounts were frozen, her car seized, her precious deck scheduled for demolition. And the cherry on top, the court ordered the HOA to dissolve, pending a federal audit. Turns out Karen had been skimming full of funds for years. Outside the courtroom, the neighborhood was buzzing. People who'd cowered under Karen's reign for a decade were done. She made us pay dues for years, and now she's renting barns like Airbnbs. One neighbor fumed. Another demanded, where's my refund for that security drone upgrade she promised? Karen started avoiding the press, wearing hoodies and hiding behind bushes. Her social media became a graveyard of comments like Queen of HOA crime and should have minded your business. By the time the dust settled, Karen's house had a foreclosure sign. Her Range Rover was towed from a Walmart parking lot. She tried to move in with her sister, but even her family wanted nothing to do with her. At the courthouse, she'd wailed to reporters, I didn't mean for it to go this far. One journalist asked, do you regret impersonating the ranch owner? Her response, I thought he wouldn't find out. Oh, I found out, Karen. As for me, I turned my ranch into a real rental, but on my terms. Not for profit, but for charity. I host events for veterans, foster kids, and local 4-H clubs. Every event starts with a framed photo of Karen's court mugshot and a sign that reads, this ranch is proudly HOA-free. Trespassers will be sued to stupor. The community loves it. We've raised thousands for good causes, and my ranch is once again my sanctuary. So, what's the moral of the story? Don't mess with a man's land, especially when he's got a lawyer like Mikey and a grudge the size of Texas. Karen learned that the hard way. If you enjoyed this wild ride, drop a like, share this video, and let me know in the comments what's the craziest HOA story you've ever heard. Until next time, stay out of trouble, unless you're taking down a Karen. Peace out.